This is going to be all about stories from a man's life. A man who plays in a rock band, has an associate's degree in pastry, and works construction. It's This Biff American Life. I'm Dave Peterson. Of course, each week on our program, we choose a theme, bring you various stories based on that theme. Today, the adventures of Joe Dandurand. So, what was going through your head?
When she asked me?
Yeah.
The first thing in my mind was, hey, that wouldn't be so bad, and then my, I don't know, better instincts kicked in. That, that's not right.
Our program today in 3 acts. Act 1, 3 verses 1. Act 2, no thank you, ma'am. Act 3, domestic violence, not on my watch. It's going to be real exciting. Stay with us. Act 1, 3 verses 1. The young 18-year-old Joe Dandurand finds himself facing 3 not-so-formidable foes. We talked about this story in Biff's practice space, so please forgive the noise that's going on around.
Sitting at an intersection, particularly 21 and 86, when the car in front of me, which is full of a couple teenagers, swings out of the back seat, throws a tomato at my car. Haha, very funny. They fuck you, give them the bird, and off I go to the party. Hang out at the party, have fun. At that time, I was going to church every Sunday, so I left the party midnight, 1 o'clock to head home. So still sleeping with folks. And I was kind of half lit, so I'm driving home. It's dark. Driving down 86. Car is behind me. Flashes its lights. Well, I'm half dumb enough. I pull over to see what the hell the problem is. Get in my car. I notice it's the same car, the same 3 kids in it from earlier today. They step out of the car. I don't know what the initial thing they were going to do was, but I saw it was them, and I said, okay, let's do this. One kid proceeds to come at me and punches me with what looked like all he had. These kids were probably just old enough to drive. 16, 17 maybe. I was 18 at the time. Kid, everything he had slams me in the chest. And it felt like he flicked me. So to that, I blew him in the face and he went down. He was out, blood all over the place. I'm pretty sure I broke his nose. In the meantime, his buddy has jumped on my back. I grabbed him and just flipped him right on his ass on the gravel. And then the other kid is standing there staring at me in amazement. I had nothing to say. I should have had a one-liner. I just turned around, got in my car, and drove home. Never saw him again.
It's This Biff American Life. For those just joining us, we're discussing the adventures of Joe Dandurand. We've arrived in our program at Act 2. Act 2? No thank you, ma'am. In this story, after a Biff gig, Joe finds himself in a unique situation. He is given the opportunity to make a gentleman's choice. A little word of warning to our younger listeners, this story does acknowledge the existence of sex, particularly oral sex. So let listeners' discretion be advised. Here's Joe Dandurand again.
We played a show. Where did we play a show?
I believe it was Bushwhackers.
Yes, we had a Bushwhackers show on like a Wednesday or during the week. And I had to leave early, so I took all the shit I generally take in the car, headed back alone to unload. No biggie. I get back here. It was during the Taste of Colorado. So right across the street from our practice space, there's, hootenannies and food and all kinds of shit going on. So I roll up, get out of my car, get ready to take some shit out, or I got a few things out of the car, and I hear the unmistakable shuffle of, drunk feet coming through the parking lot, which isn't unusual because we have a paid parking lot that's right across the street from our practice space.
So she was, you could hear her dragging her feet.
Yeah, like a drunk person kind of stumble shuffle.
Yeah.
So I get, I look up to, see if it's a drunk attempting to mug me or I don't know, whatever. And there's this woman, and she's stumbling towards me in the dark. and I can't remember if she fell over or not, but she looked, f***ing hammered. So I...
Can you describe her?
Oh, she was dark hair, I don't know, 5'10", pretty good looking gal. Had a kind of dress skirt thing on, and flat shoes, nothing special, but she was pretty good looking. And she, I went over, can I help you with anything? Because she kind of fell against my car at that point. So, and she just was kind of half leaning against the car, looked up at me, and said, "Can I suck your cock?" And as much as I probably should have said yes, I don't think I could take advantage of some nasty drunk, well, she wasn't nasty, some nastily drunk individual. And I said, no, I don't think we need to do that. Can I help you, are you trying to go home? Where are you? Can I help you out? Get you your car or whatever? She says, well, I think I parked over here. And I was like, well, I'm not going to let her drive home, but I can't be leaning against my car all night or whatever. So I said, give me your keys. And I just kind of walked in the parking lot, hitting the button till a car unlocked. And I carried her over, stuck her in the passenger seat. I cracked the window. By the time I got her in the car, cracked the window, put her keys in the glove box. So hopefully if she did wake up, she was too drunk not to find them. She was out, passed out. So I locked the door, closed her in the car, proceeded to unload the rest of the gear, and drove away.
This is Biff American Life. Of course, each week on our program, we choose a theme, bring you various stories based on that theme. We're talking about the adventures of Joe Dandurand. We've arrived at Act 3. Domestic violence, not on my watch. In this third story, Joe takes quick, decisive action to protect the interest of a young woman in danger.
It's one of those really f***ing cold days, and I'm driving back out in the middle of effing nowhere, pretty much, driving down Calhan Highway heading towards 86. So it's dirt. I'm driving, coming home. I come over the hill, probably about 2.5 miles before you get to 86, and there is a car with the hazards on, like on the side of the road. Well, again, Good Samaritan thought, I'll see if they're in distress, gonna give a hand. Nobody needs to be freezing their ass off in the middle of nowhere. Even though, I might have heard banjos playing, I don't know, but I'm a stout guy, I got a baseball bat in the car, I think I'd be okay. So I pull up, and there's two people standing behind the car as I roll up. They're kind of shaking. I can't tell anything till I got. So I park, got out of the car. As I'm walking up, I said, hey, you guys need any help? And after I say that, I'm close enough now that I see it's an intoxicated man, my size, roughly, and a crying, good-looking girl.
Like, mascara running?
Not, it didn't look like she just had her father just died or anything, but I could tell her eyes were red and she was wiping tears from her eyes and kind of did the sniffle thing. So, before I can say anything to add to that, he responds to my earlier question of, can I help you with, no, we're okay. And she started to say something, I don't even know what, and he immediately turned and smacked her right side of the head. Don't you talk like that, bitch, or whatever. I don't know what type of thing.
So likely that they were driving and got in a fight. Possibly she was trying to get him to stop driving drunk or something.
And that's exactly what had happened. That's
So
later finding out. They pull over. They're having an argument in the car because he wants to drive, and she doesn't want to let him. Why anybody pulls over like that and puts their hazards on, I don't know. But in any case, so he smacks her. And I didn't even think about it. And he's turned sideways to me. He couldn't see me. And I just, all I had into the side of his head with my fist. He immediately smacked onto the trunk of the car. And then crumples to the ground. As far as I could tell at that moment, he was out. I mean, he's drunk, too, again. And I turned to the girl. She kind of gave a squeal. Like, ee! Like women do, I guess. I don't know. And I said, is this his car? She said, yes. I said, get in my car. I grabbed him, put him in the back seat. Closed the door, cracked the window again, left the car running with the heat on because he probably would have froze to death. I don't know. He was drunk. It wouldn't have mattered. And got in my car. She's sitting in the passenger seat. And I said, hi, I'm Joe. I said, hi. I can't even remember her name. I think it was Christina. I honestly can't remember. I pretty sure it was Christina. Nice to meet you. Can I take you anywhere? Where do you need to go? Because you're not going to stay here. And she's kind of sobbing and says, well, my brother lives off of Highway 33. And take me to his place. And say, okay, I know where that is. So off we drive. And this is about 20 minutes from our current position is Highway 33. I sit in the car. And of course there's the complete silence for about 5 miles. Till I can't take it anymore. And I said, so, is that your boyfriend? Husband? Whatever? He says, I asked my boyfriend. And then, talk ensued from there. She found out that she's 21. He was 22. I guess he gets drunk like this often. That's where I found out that she was driving, and he wanted to drive, and they got in a fight. I guess they've been doing this frequently. So, yada yada. And I said, well, you think you would be safe at your brother's house? She said, yeah. I said, okay. So we roll up to her brother's house, get out of the car, walk up to the door, ring the doorbell. The door opens, and there's this behemoth of an individual that completely darkens the door. I mean, there's barely any light coming through, and this guy's got to be 6'5", it's wider than the door. And he has this scowl on his face because he sees me standing there with his sister. And I kind of was like, and then she explained to him what happened. And he said, good. And fucking prick's an asshole. Should have fucking killed him, yada yada. I said, well, I guess she'll be good here. Any concerns I had about her being safe were completely dissolved at that point. She gave me a peck on the cheek. I shaked her brother's hand. Said, have a nice night. I'll see you later. And home I drove.
Very good. Well, our program today was distributed by biffnet.com. It was produced by Joe Dandurand and myself. Management oversight for our program today by our boss, Mr. Satyanako, who actually did absolutely nothing to help produce this episode. He was relentless. He just kept up and kept soliciting us. He just kept coming up and saying to us,
"Can I suck your cock?"
We'll be back next time for more stories from this Biff American Life. Thanks for listening.